Vince, did Ripple come up with a new way to deal with money? We have a new movie from Scott. Let's hear what he has to say and then look at what might happen to the price of XRP if Ripple took over the banking system. There's also new information about stablecoins and how their network effects could be huge if they really take off. Finally, we'll look at some RLUSD news and details, as well as information from Dayote, Ripple, and the XRP guys. Let's get started. I hope today's great for you. Please click like if you find this helpful. The IRS took away my house and everything in it, which is why I've been at odds with the system ever since. Everyone in the middle class was behind on their mortgages and car loans, and the national debt is at an all-time high. David Schwartz also answered a question I had yesterday about whether Ripple had created a banking system. I told him about how XRP could be sent through an exchange as either gas to be burned to make the deal possible, or as money to be processed into any stable coin or tokenized asset you want, with the option to store value as rewas or something else in the unit of account. And he pretty much said, yes, that is the financial system we have here for the Internet of Value. And sending and receiving value is a new way for everyone. How that affects the Federal Reserve System, this system's been kept going by CIA coups, blackmail, and things like Epstein. Everything they've done around the world is pretty bad, and the people who set it up should be killed. We all need to get out of it. Do you think there's a link between religion and what we're going through with DT? Really, do you think that Trump would have been shot and killed in milliseconds at some point? You can't deny things that are so obviously strange. Okay, so he got religious. I don't know why I didn't think that would happen at the end. I only saw the first minute or so. That's interesting, David. I think Ripple's been working on this for 10 years, but Schwartz did agree that Ripple had created a new way to handle money. Now we're going to talk about what might happen to the price of XRP if it really does become the backbone of the banking system. It talks about what will happen if the XRP ledger really does become the core of the global financial system, providing the main infrastructure for payments, transfers, and maybe even tokenization across borders. For real world assets, XRP price estimates range from somewhat to extremely bullish. This is based on assumptions about how widely it will be used, how useful it will be, and how the market will act. In this case, it's just getting some facts. 25 to 30, from cautious to optimistic to be safe. It sounds like being more bullish means being $15.00 to $25.00 or more by 2030. If XRP has a lot of transactions, like 30% of all the money that goes through major brokerages, it could hit $20.00 to $30.00. This is mostly positive. Some community members and influential people think that XRP could hit $100,000, 0 cents, $200,000, 0 cents, or even $10,000, 0 cents one day. I think it's only a matter of time before we do something like that. XRP has always been one of the top 2 or 3 cryptocurrencies in the world. I think Ripple has more ways to help financial companies solve their problems than either Ethereum or Bitcoin. Going forward, it will be used more because it can be used in futures, different kinds of contracts, loans, real estate, and many other things. This can be done on the XRP system, which could add a lot of value. In most of these cases, it is assumed that XRP will be used by almost all banks and central banks, as it acts as a bridge for most foreign transactions and tokenized assets. Clear rules and acceptance around the world are also not always clear. I'm not going to read those all the way through because we know it takes time for things to catch on, but the truth is that anything can appear out of nowhere and become the norm for years. The IMF, BIS, and other groups need to try this technology. They need to let central banks test new technology together in sandboxes to make sure it works. They can't just make claims. They have to make sure everything works before they can use it as a central bank digital currency, start a stable coin, or do anything else that will use that infrastructure. This movie is very interesting. A lot of people talk about Solana, but then the topic changes to X. You might be wondering why this guy keeps asking about Sol, but things will pay them a fee and Solana's digital currency salt in their electronic money. Yes, that's right. But the money comes from the same pot. I get it. Let's say it's $1 million and they make it up. and charge $1. I don't get it, how much they charge. That's right. If Solana takes off and becomes the safe coin network, I should put money into Sol because everyone will have to pay them in Sol. That's the point of use, as I said. The main difference is that a steady coin is backed by $1, 0 cents. So the value of the investment doesn't keep going up. The company is useful, so stocking that makes sense. But you don't really think that the value of the reserve will go up by $1, 0 cents, do you? That's not my point. You have to pay them a fee, which will be paid in their own digital currency. I know I've already said this, but let's imagine a world where SafeCoin really takes off. I don't want to sell souls because people will need to buy them to pay them. That's right. I need to get souls. Do you buy Visa? No, I don't buy Visa anymore. I don't want to sell souls. I want to buy some. It went from souls to souls. This person must really like Solana because he keeps saying nice things about him. Okay, pay their fee. It makes sense. You can keep buying them though, because there's always $1 ready to back them up. That's my point. How would your capital grow if you didn't have Sol? Also, isn't there more good time for Sol? If they want to give away souls, they have to put up $1 for every USDC or Ripple coin they make. To be clear, it's Ripple USD, not XRP. The RLUSD bill has a... Do you mean to say that Sol would be tied to the dollar? No, I don't mean that. I don't want to get into the specifics of which safe coin there is. The value of the steady coin doesn't go up. That's right. I'm talking about how the value of the Sol cash you will have will go up. Yes, Solana is the only thing used in the world. Also, everyone has to pay Sol and Solana. Okay, so that does happen. I'll tell you one thing though. Sol is getting more expensive. The price might go up if everyone used Solana, but Solana is mostly just a joke right now. I know that Solana is being used for some big projects, but when you talk about Solana, people will first ask what kind of person Sal is and what the most important thing is that Solana is used for right now. Are you ready for deals that are cheap? That's what it is. Meme coins. When RLUSD's value hits the $1 trillion mark, it goes back to 1-to-1. This much money is kept on the XRP record. This is not about RLUSD on Ethereum. If we want to talk about value, we'll talk about RLUSD on the X. That's why I wanted to learn more about a 1 trillion, 2 trillion, and 5 trillion market with a 50 to 100 fold gain.